Now they've gotten to a position where instead of feeling like they should be the most popular and having the most fun, that they feel the most isolated. I'm very, very self-aware of my surroundings. I think that's when we talk about tips to be emotionally intelligent, you really should be looking at your surroundings. I look at everything in the room. I look at people's expressions. I'm constantly reading a room. But what I find interesting is when there's an executive speaking at a conference, it's the keynote potentially, it's the CEO, it's someone very important, and everyone's in awe, and they are racing up to them after their keynote, and they want to get to them, they want to ask them questions, they want to give them their business cards, they want to ask for a meeting. And after the lights are shining and after they're on stage, you might see them a couple days later eating alone at the bar. And, once those lights have dimmed and everything, people, they're not as comfortable. And then, you find that they kind of can be lonely because people are intimidated to walk up to important people. In a moment where they're given the permission after they're speaking, it's easy, right? But not so easy when people are intimidated by you. And that's another reason why people at the top need to focus on their emotional intelligence and how important that is to be comfortable, to be approachable. And they want to be approached. When I see a C-suite executive sitting alone, I say it's my duty to make sure I keep them comfortable. So I'm walking up and I'm keeping them as comfortable as possible. And I BFF them. They're going to be my best friend forever. Before I've left that moment of sharing a cocktail or sharing life with them. And I rarely talk about work. I might be like, we work together. I'd love to work with you in the future. Let's talk about other things. Let's talk about art. Let's talk about something we're both interested in. In my experience dealing with important people, I have heard some of my friends say, you're my real friend. Those are my acquaintances because they really need something from me. And even if I've met them through work, that they consider someone that I can trust and they can count on. And I do feel like there's really important people that are successful that feel that people want to talk to them because they only need something from them. But it's very possible if someone needs something from you, you can become friends. That is true too. How someone deals with feeling lonely, I can't answer that in its entirety. It's something they have to work through. That is a sense of, it's a very personal feeling. I'm sure they feel isolated, so they need to go to their closest friends and talk to them. I mean, feeling isolated is a common theme, I think, with people in general. So, they need to find their inner circle, their one or two, closest friends, and, that advice for anyone to check in with them and do a check-in and tell them they're feeling lonely, or tell them that they feel like they've sort of lost themselves, and they've gotten to a position where instead of feeling like they should be the most popular and having the most fun, that they feel the most isolated, and try to work through that. But I think if they can, in their own work environment, if they can think good ways for them to kind of break that barrier, is to include themselves in the team building exercises. So if they're feeling like this isolated feeling, is that they can go and make a goofball of themselves in a team breaking and participate at the most common levels, and talk to people in the elevators and make them accessible and let them know at their town halls. And do something silly. I mean, that'll always make you accessible. Do skits, do something, I think if you're at the top, it's a fine line between having boundaries and being an answer person, correct? So but it is their job. It is their job to manage people's, emotions, manage their work, manage their expectations. So, it's a tough, listen, being at the top of your field, or being a CEO, or being in the C-suite in general, that could be CFO, CMO, CEO, it's a tough job. because it takes on a lot of responsibilities, and a lot of that responsibility comes with taking away some of the things that you need and putting everyone else first and not having that balance. And that's where maybe some of the loneliness comes in. My guess is women find it easier to connect with people in general, with their friends, and are very much more open. My guess is at the top, it's more difficult for men. In general, women are more emotionally intelligent than men, no offense to men. Men don't get a chance. Vulnerability is a sense of, it's one of the biggest strengths we can have, is being vulnerable. But I think that people perceive it as a weakness. And unfortunately, I think that men in general don't want to appear that they're being vulnerable. And I think that they want to feel they're as tough as nails, even if we're, both men and women, but I would say it would be harder. It's harder for men.